Hi everyone, this is Ciara, Vice President of Global Business at Huobi Group. In today's episode of Huobi Insider, I'm very pleased to have Professor David Lee as our special guest from Singapore University of Social Science. Professor Lee, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Ciara. It's a great pleasure to be here, and it's really good to see you online again.
We want to thank you for supporting us as our 7th anniversary conference. It was a great talk, and we received very good feedback from our audience. It was a great event. Thank you so much.
Glad to hear that. I think that was a very good conversation. I really enjoyed it. So I'm glad to have another conversation today.
Yeah, good. Okay, so the rise of blockchain has made many of us think about the future, what the future holds for us and how we deal with the future of digital economy. So today's topic will be how does blockchain empower the real economy and promote inclusive finance? So let's start my first question. Traditional finance has been performing well for such a long time. So what do you think will be the most effective areas for blockchain technology to work with traditional finance? And what does blockchain need to do to achieve to be part of our current financial lives?
Yeah, I particularly like the technology blockchain because it's very different from the rest. And I've been in the space since 1994, first as a stockbroker. And then as a hedge fund managers until about 2012. So I see the whole transformation of the financial industry. So the key question is, what is the next big thing? And throughout my career, I've been always looking for the next big thing. So to answer your question, is that the underlying technology, which is blockchain, was what I was advocating. So in 2013, 2014, I started talking about splitting payment tokens from the underlying technology, which is token. And one of the purpose of doing that was to continue to look at how to use technology to do good, right? One of the important things about investment is that we got to invest into something that eventually will scale, eventually will take off. I came into space because I was nervous that the US dollar will collapse in 2008 and 2009, which is very similar now because the debt keep going up, right? The debt ceiling keep going up, and there seems to be no end, and the value of money eventually will disappear, and all these asset classes will also collapse. And when you ask that question, then you've got to ask yourself about what is the next big thing. And that is where blockchain will come into it because you will be able to solve a lot of problems that we have now. One is about the imbalances in this world, imbalances in the sense that imbalances in the economic growth. And everybody talk about K recovery, where those who are in technology will have a good recovery, and those who do not have a technology will not have a good recovery. And blockchain has the innate ability to distribute wealth. I think that is the biggest enabler and the kind of technology that we are all looking forward to. And from an investment perspective, and if it can give us a diversification from the traditional asset class, because we can find an asset class which have almost no correlation with it, and that part of it is what we couldn't do before blockchain came about. What we couldn't do before blockchain came about was that we knew that people who are in the developing economy, people who are not in the financial system and economic system, always pay higher charges than everybody else. But if you want to serve them, we are not able to do so before blockchain because to serve them, the cost of doing that business is too high. But when blockchain came into the picture, then we have a technology together with the rest of the technology which I mentioned. We are now able to serve the people who are excluded. And I can say that at least 50% of people in ASEAN are not included into the broadband market. And at least about half of them do not have formal banking facilities. And a lot of them are underserved, probably 60% or 70% underserved, and they're willing to pay higher charges. So blockchain will change the entire financial system and bring us from traditional finance to decentralized finance.
Great answer, and I agree to a lot of it. Bitcoin is a good way for asset storage. When you talk about in 2008 and 2009, when the whole financial crisis happened, everybody look at the collapse of U.S. dollars and all of the other asset class, and they think about what do we do, like where do we put our money, and when we're thinking about value of gold and silver and diamonds, and now there is no physical storage required, and Bitcoin and other assets, digital assets, it's a great alternative way for people to really store their assets, and I agree that blockchain and cryptocurrency is just so natural for lowering the cost of trust and providing more decentralized way for people to operate and participate in more financial activities and events. But in my opinion, that there are still a few things that blockchain need to achieve. For example, when we all know about the impossible triangle, for us to always balance, being enough decentralized and efficiency, and don't sacrifice the security part. And we've, as a industry worker like me, we've been all putting in our efforts to improving the technology and helping with that, and really balancing handling capacity and security, and balance the both of it, and trying to improve the performance. And also, now our industry is more developed. We are providing more professional services to traditional institutions and traditional business leads, so that they feel the same level of services and level of products that they can now have a try and participate in the blockchain tech industry. So we as a platform need to really be well prepared to welcome them, and to really help with building all these fundamentals. And another part is of course, I think legal compliance way for our industry to be more close to traditional finance. We need more regulations. We need clear rules for how do we operate, and what rules we follow. And we're also glad to see that in the past 2 years there are a lot of improvements and things that we can see that's happening now from the compliance part. For example, Japan, the country is known as one of the most strict country with compliance, especially in finance, and they now have the license. And Huobi also, become the first bunch of exchanges who got the license in Japan. And our HT tokens also fully compliant in Japan, and many other countries too, like Gibraltar, like Thailand. We're just so glad to see that this is going fast and this is going well. And I think being able to having more licenses in the industry, and having more clear definition of compliance and other rules will really open up to the traditional business world. And I think I have really great confidence in this, and really looking forward to see what's going to happen in the next few years. Yeah. So let's talk about Libra. Libra's got so much attention, when it's first launched, and have like a lot of things happening and a lot of changing. But later, the development is full of difficulties. So, what do you think is the future development perspective of Libra?
Yeah, I think when stablecoin first came out, I wasn't very bullish on stablecoin. I'm still not very bullish on stablecoin. But when the main reason was that the weakest link of stablecoin is fiat currency. So I just feel that if you want to go into the crypto world, really you shouldn't have any link with the fiat currency. And I think what my belief is actually become true because of the CBDC. But CBDC wouldn't have come about without Libra. So Libra has actually done the crypto world a big favor by, um, first of all, um, looking into the financial inclusion story, and then because they have a huge user base, and I mean the difference between Libra and other digital fintech company is that in China, most of the users for WeChat and Alipay are mainly Mandarin speaking, but Libra has got over a billion, but most of them are not from America. So you could see the globalization efforts of Facebook, which has done extremely well. And Libra is a natural extension of Facebook, which have 90% of the revenue in advertisement. So they have to diversify, and Libra is clearly a very good strategy and perhaps the best strategy that they have. But when they have that strategy, it triggers something else, because it triggers the fear that those countries with capital control may see their payment system being penetrated, and they will see foreign reserve being leaked from the country. And one of the countries which is extremely worried about this is China. So Libra has done the crypto industry a great favor, because we're talking about regulation. We have a lot of good regulators. We are seeing quite a few in the US. We can see quite a lot in Europe, and Japan is certainly one of them as well. That they actually innovate in the way they regulate. And if you look at the response from all the regulators in how they treat tokens and cryptocurrency, you can see that the regulation are not the traditional regulation. They have evolved and they have changed. And regulators are actually very innovative, a lot more innovative than we give them credit for. So I'm really a fan of innovation in regulation. And I think Libra has helped the cryptocurrency community by having floated the idea of originally having 6 currencies. But at the same time, when they floated that idea, I was a bit wary, because to deal with 6 regulators all at the same time is not an easy task. And I have spoken about that in Taiwan when they have that Asia blockchain conference. And soon after, they actually have decided that they should be dealing with one regulator at a time, so that you don't have a whole basket of different currencies at the same time, but perhaps have a single currency, so that you are more equipped to deal with one regulator at the same time. So I think the approach by Libra is commendable, in the sense that they are very flexible, and they change when there need to be a change. And I think going by their desire to serve the underserved for financial inclusion, and that mission is still there, which I believe it is. I don't see why they cannot do what they want to do. No regulators would want a stable coin that serves the society and also to help them to solve their problem. I think the main thing that the crypto community need to understand is that you've got to work hand in hand with the government. And I suppose that the crypto community, when they first started, they started on the wrong footing, thinking that they don't need the government. But actually, you do need the government as your partner in serving the society. And if that is the main goal for the crypto community, I think everything is possible. And I think Libra will take off as well. And I've spoken to regulators in public forum, and I asked them the question that, are they having regulation to ban all cryptocurrency? The answer is always that every invention, every innovation has its own purpose. And if that purpose is to complement what the government cannot do, then there's no reason for regulators to weed them out. In fact, regulators would like to work with them. And if you look at how the regulators have reacted, especially in Singapore and in China and elsewhere, they embrace the technology, but they cannot embrace entirely everything that the crypto world has, because every country the condition is different. Some countries has got more speculative environment. Other countries have too little speculation. Right? In Singapore, nobody speculates. So that is a problem too, because in any financial market, you need speculation, right? But you don't need too big a population of speculation. The problem in Singapore is that we don't have speculation, right? Our population are well behaved. We don't like speculation. So we need a little bit more speculation in that sense, because it's just not there. People are just very rational and so on. So every country is different. And therefore the response from the regulators are different. So you could see that Singapore, we are more towards token economy as compared to China, is more wary about tokenization. But as time goes on, we just have to look at the long term. Where are we heading, right? So Libra is certainly in the right direction, but of course, they are always worried about privacy protection, right? So if you look at, you ask me where Libra is moving, then I would answer the same thing. That is the same thing they asked me. Where would the fintech companies in China be heading? Where would the end group going? It's the same, to me, it's the same question. And my answer is in the 6Ds that I always use, right? If you look at the entire virtual economy, you will have to go through the 6 stages, right? And the first stage is always digitalization, right? You digitize something, make it as a digital representation, then you have new business model, that's digitalization. That is always the first stage. And the second stage is disintermediation. You could see Libra disintermediating maybe the banks, and then you could see Ant Group disintermediating the bank, and then they democratize their service, financial inclusion, and they serve the underserved, because naturally those people pay higher service charges. Naturally, those are the new customer. Naturally, those are the new business model that with the technology, it is now viable to serve them. And all the fintech companies could do that, whether it's AWS, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Alibaba, whether it's Ant Group, whether it's Tencent, whether it's Ping An, they could all do all those. The first 3Ds, we have achieved that. But the real virtual economy, the real crypto economy that we're talking about, is not a centralized digital economy. A centralized digital economy is a winner takes all economy. No government will like that. They will clamp down on all fintech companies. That is natural. The government really love decentralized digital economy. And what's that? That is the crypto world. That is a decentralized, digitized world. The decentralized digital economy is token economy. So all the government will love token economy. All the government will love cryptocurrency, which is what they're doing now. They're transforming their currency into cryptocurrency, right? So basically, the last 3Ds are the most important. To answer your question of where Libra is going, is whether Libra or any other tech companies or Ant Group that they can achieve the last 3Ds. And the fourth D is decentralization. Are they adopting decentralization in the virtual world? Off-chain governance can be centralized, but on-chain, we have to be decentralized, because that is the only way to ensure fair game. That's the only way to ensure that everybody have a share of the growth. That's the only way to ensure that in some ways we all own our own data, so that we don't have to worry our data is being misused. So that is decentralization that we're talking about, empowering the individual. And then the fifth D is to diminish oneself. Can all this tech company, can Libra and so on really diminish themselves? And Libra has openly declared that they were going to have 100 members, and then in future from a private blockchain to an open blockchain, even though it's never been done before. And I hope that they will stay the course, because that is diminishing oneself. And this is what the Chinese government want the fintech companies to do in China too. They want them to diminish themselves so that they will share the fruits and serve the people. And this is the new distribution economy that we are talking about. We need to distribute the wealth because there are a lot of imbalances. We need to distribute and empower people to hold their own data. We need to distribute the trust so that we hold our own identity, So distribution of trust is what the crypto world is trying to do. And what is the ultimate game? The ultimate game is not to have digital empire, not to have a so-called surveillance capitalism that we are talking about. We need to have distribution or distribution economics, where we actually distribute the power, distribute the trust, and distribute the wealth, also distribute the debt to everybody. The final ball game is the last D, which is data privacy protection, which is again what we are doing, right? In the crypto world, we have zero knowledge proof, we have secret sharing, we have secure party, multi-party computing, and so on, or trusted execution environment. We are already doing that. We also have quantum resistant blockchain, right, to resist quantum computing from cracking all the cryptography that come about. And blockchain, a Bitcoin by 2017 and Ethereum by 2017 will be quantum proof. 2027, not 2017, right? So to answer your question is that, do we stay the course of the 6D? Do we stay the course of financial inclusion? Do we stay the course of what the Cypherpunk Manifesto was about? The Cypherpunk Manifesto was about data privacy protection, which is the 6D. So if we stay the course, then Libra will take off, Bitcoin will take off, Ethereum will take off, the entire crypto world will take off, because it's inclusive. This is not about my blockchain because we diminish ourselves. It's about interoperability. It is about every blockchain is a node. I think you will stay the course of the Cypherpunk Manifesto and have a Cypherpunk 2.0 manifesto, as I just mentioned, the 6D. Then we are on to the token economy that we are talking about, and every government will embrace that.
Yes, very informative answers. I like the way that you use the 6D stages to describe this whole, stages of the development for, like you said, any real technology and any real development that we need to see for not only just future development perspective of Libra. And of course, Libra was Facebook, was this over 1 billion globalization user base, is a very good innovative way for all of the world to think about things in different directions. And I think the direction that Libra went is very much in line with the direction that you want recognized payment to go. Each country will use this concept to develop their own financial inclusion system. And also Libra did a few, other things. And they made a chain, and they made an asset merchandise chain. And the other is it established an alliance. So Libra would think that future development will not be a problem, such as asset-oriented programming and asset business chains, and those concepts will certainly be gradually developed with time. And also Libra mentioned that legislation of each country, as you said, starting with 6 countries, it's so hard, and I can't imagine talking to all of these regulators at the same time and trying to get everyone on the same page must be a very hard way to go. But that's definitely a prerequisite for Libra to really succeed. And, the future form may also be very diversified. So on to our next question, which is about the problem of real world asset chain. So some people think that a combination of IoT and purposing machine may be a direction, but even if there are good, combination of two, there's still no way to ensure that the data on chain is real. So what do you think would be the process you think that world asset chain should go through?
I think IoT is very important. Eventually, the convergence of technology, all the technology on its own will not have a network effect. But if you combine all the technology with blockchain as the base layer that record anything of value that is being transacted, then we will have a whole new world that we can change the society. But the greatest weakness of blockchain is that the first time When you put that data onto the blockchain, you can never know that cow token, which track the cow, that is really a cow behind it. So we may need the GPS, we may need the IoT, we may need a lot of other technology to ensure that the cow is really in existence and is recorded on the blockchain as we change hands when we transact and trade them. Okay. Now we are now in 2020, we have the same problem. We have a fractional reserve system that is almost broken down. We can give the bank as much money as we wish, as central bank, and the bank will say, no, I don't want it. I will give it back to you. And the central bank said, if you give it back to me, you have to pay interest. And that's how we end up with negative interest rate in Europe. So the fractional reserve system has already broken. Is that a replacement? That's a key question. And the answer is probably is blockchain. But blockchain itself, okay, is not enough, as you said, because if you go back talking about trade, really, what we are talking about, the token economy or the crypto community that we have, is talking about tokenization of everything. And that's DeFi. It's DeFi that we're talking about. DeFi is an experiment online, but the real DeFi will be an experiment with a convergence of virtual world with the physical world. Okay, so DeFi is just at 1.0. When you have 2.0, we will have a convergence of technology with a convergence of physical and the virtual world.
My next question is that the industry have been evolved over the past few years a lot, and hotspots has continually been changing. And when 2017 people were all talking about ICO, and this year DeFi has been a total craze in the industry and a total value locked, which now is over $13 billion US. So what do you think blockchain offers us more opportunities now?
Yeah. So when DeFi first came out, I really didn't like DeFi because I hate speculation. So I don't like DeFi. But then I had lunch one day with somebody from GovTech, and he's a very good developer. And he started talking to me, and I was just wondering, why is it somebody who works in the government spends so much time looking into DeFi? And we had a very good conversation over Japanese lunch. Special thanks to my friend who brought us together, and then I realized that there's a lot more to offer. So I made the same mistake as people who actually first look at Bitcoin and say that Bitcoin is a scam, and then they just ignore Bitcoin and not look into the blockchain. So I made the same mistake. When I look at DeFi, I say it's for speculation, right? I made the same mistake as a lot of people. Then I say, oh, I'm not going to look into DeFi. But when I saw this young man from GovTech was so enthusiastic about DeFi, I started doing a lot more research, and I'm now convinced that that is the next big thing. It's the next big thing because when the CBDC comes out, you need to know what's the end game of the CBDC. The first thing that CBDC happens is that now we can actually have transact offline. That's one. We can also transact without going through the bank. So this is the second development. Now the next stage is that when things are being tokenized, okay, it's very important that government will say that I really do not like speculation. And government do not like speculation, and they will say that government mission is to ensure that they have equitable, just, and normal function market, so that there's no market failure. Now, currently without DeFi, anyone can come out and they say that, okay, I have a lot of money, I'm going to buy out this product. And after he has bought up all the products, what will happen is that he can price it as he wishes. So the rest who came late will have to pay very high. And I can tell you that governments will not like that because social stability is what government loves. Social instability is what government fear. Right? So DeFi has the advantage that the government using CBDC can be a liquidity provider, right? And somebody with a product, for example, a cow token, for the whole year a cow products, he can actually tokenize all the cow, and we know exactly the demand and supply of the cow and even the beef into the market. This is like the prediction market that we're talking about, right? So the DeFi market is actually drawing a demand and supply curve, and the government will love it because the community is drawing that curve for the government, and we then have a price in accordance to how the demand and supply forces are moving. And this is the biggest contribution for price discovery. And notice that this year Nobel Prize winner works in the area of auction. It's basically price discovery. And you can tell that DeFi is deep into price discovery, and it will provide very good solution for us to solve a lot of problems that we cannot solve now. Just like what blockchain is solving the problem for supply chain, that we can digitize everything onto the supply chain. And when we have done that, okay, everything in the supply chain is transparent. Now all the goods in the world, the supply and demand are all transparent. There will be no one who can corner the market and push the price up and do rent seeking and cause instability to the entire society. So this is what I'm seeing in a digital barter world driven by government and the production people as a liquidity provider for both the products and the CBDC. And with that, you will see all the cryptocurrency coming into play. And this is the reason why CBDC is having such a great interest among the central banks, because they know that we are moving in the token economy. And maybe the central bankers still do not know the potential of DeFi, but the crypto community already understand the potential of DeFi. And this is the reason why we are all very focused in this area. And it has nothing to do with speculation. And I mentioned, I don't like speculation.
Yeah, apparently all Singaporeans don't like speculation. That's the one thing that we learned today.
This is the fault in our character. We don't like speculation. It's bad.
Yeah. So DeFi's growth is actually, being involved for more than 2 years. 2017, 2018, during consensus in New York, everybody was looking at already like Uniswap and all of this pioneer DeFi projects, and they've been putting a lot of efforts and resources in developing these technologies and different forms, and they finally I think there's a breakthrough in this year, and especially with Stacks, it's so amazing that they found this way of AMM and solved this liquidity and order book issue that all of these smaller exchanges were trying to solve. In 2018, 2019, we see a bunch of new, kind of mining exchanges and smaller exchanges like came out during those 2 years, but it didn't work. But DEX worked because of this amazing AMM innovating kind of way, and it's just great to see that this industry has always been developing. And one more opportunity we saw is one thing that I'm constantly saying is institutions, and I think that's the reason that we are seeing Bitcoin price went up by so much this year, is because we now have this institutional old money that are supporting us, and we know that institutions, when they buy, they can't just sell the other day. They have to keep it. They have to hold it for a longer period of time. And some data that I want to share with our audience is that as of today, we see 18 listed company and funds that are now announced that they hold Bitcoin, and the total amount made up to 3.2% of total circulating supply. And that just shows us that the whole customer and user structure has changed dramatically from 2017 until now. And from Huobi's data, we see that at the beginning of 2019, institutional trading volume was only 17%, and now, on spot and derivatives, we see trading volume of the institution is already more than 50%. So, and it's constantly developing and improving too. Comparing just Q2 and Q3 we see more than 75% of increase in trading volume. So, and I think that's one more thing that, like Professor Lee said, innovating regulations are providing us opportunities for bigger money to come into newer industries. So my next question is a more broader one. What do you think are the future trends and directions of blockchain and digital economy?
I think the future is really bright. I don't know whether you're aware, 10 ASEAN countries, and including China, Korea, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, signed the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. In short, is called RCEP. So there's a DCEP, which is the central bank digital currency for China, and there's a RCEP where you have a regional free trade agreement, especially for the virtual economy. And if you look at the document very closely, you will realize that one of the greatest steps that they have taken, number one, is that data storage need not be in a particular country. Now that is very powerful. When you don't have a constraint and everybody agree that everyone could store the data, that paved the way for blockchain and distributed ledger. So the RCEP paved the way for an exponential growth in distributed ledger technology and blockchain. And of course, what comes with it is the token economy. The other thing is that it's also important to note that when you do international trade or trading or currency trading or whatever, you will have this issue of signature, right? Not every country will accept the same form of electronic document, and especially your signature. So RCEP again solved the problem of digital signature. Now that paved the way again for peer-to-peer distributed ledger and it's also peer-to-peer communication. These two, among a lot of other goodies in the RCEP, you could see that the entire Asia-Pacific region will be embracing blockchain for trade finance, for logistics, for trading documents, for supply chain, and so on. And you know the trade is huge because these 15 countries account for maybe 1/3 to half the world population, right? As more members join in, India joining there, we will probably have close to half the population. India is not in there at this moment. So you can see that everything is written on the wall, that blockchain has a bright future because the regulators and the policymaker realize what this technology could do. And they are all embracing not the digital economy that everyone is talking about. They're embracing a decentralized digital economy, as I emphasized, known as token economy. With that alone, I think we will see, it doesn't matter whether it's DeFi, whether it's some of the cryptocurrency, or whether some of the blockchain projects that everyone is looking into, the valuation will begin to change because now the traditional company would wish to work with the startups. And when the traditional companies start to realize that blockchain can change their operation and make them more efficient and allow them to improve the industrial relationship using blockchain and token as incentive, then you know that the big time has come. The mass adoption and the scalability that we were all hoping 5 years back is finally coming to fruition. So that is my view of the next 2 to 3 years of the valuation on the blockchain projects, as well as some of the tokens that we all have been looking at, especially in the field of DeFi.
Yeah, great point. Yes. So first of all, I agree that global regulatory compliance will continue to improve. And recently, we have seen the FCA in UK, Department of Justice in the United States is taking actions, and we can also see that mainstream of traditional financial development is getting better too, and faster in countries and regions. Have begun to strengthen their involvement, and we already talked about Japan and we were just so fascinated to see that this country has been moving so fast in blockchain. And another point is that I think will continue to be changes in traditional industries, and blockchain technology will combine, with current ways of things and making it a very big trend. And I hope that our industry can grow and develop even further, in the next 5 years, 10 years, and even 50 years. And I hope to see more talents coming into the industry. And we always need great talents and human resources. And I think that's the key resource for making this industry bigger. And for Huobi, we have a vision to empower 100 million households to hold cryptocurrency. And I hope we always hope to collaborate with more partners like Professor Lee to work on this mission together. Great talking to you, Professor Lee, and thank you for all of your insights. And look forward to a long-term partnership with you, and look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you very much, Yara, and all the best to everyone, especially Huobi and you.